I would like to give some personal testimony on the subject of God's grace in somewhat a comical way. Back in 2004, I moved all the way from Seattle, Washington to Nashville, Tennessee in the hopes of making it as a studio musician. And I purchased a vehicle there from an older gentleman who, he didn't even mention this until the end of the transaction, but it turns out that he was a songwriter for Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, a gentleman by the name of Buddy Mize. And very prolific songwriter, very successful in the Nashville business. And he said, well, son, you seem like a nice kid. I'd like you to join me at my Bible study Tuesday night. And so I arrived in my Ford conversion van. It was a 3/4 ton. And I was so excited because I had learned that the members of the Bible study at that time included Opry singer Billy Walker. There was a gentleman named Chance who had worked with Johnny Cash on the road for decades. He was a member of the Bible study. And later someone who had become a friend and mentor of mine, Mr. Buzz Kaysen, was the head of this Bible study, who wrote for Gloria Gaynor, the Beatles, Martina McBride, and Jimmy Buffett. He had produced some of their records. So I thought, Lord, you're with me. This is just the most fabulous thing. I've only been here for a couple of weeks, and look at how you've blessed me. I was just so excited, and I thought, wow, I've made it now. I've just landed here, and some people, you know, it takes them years to get to a spot like this, and here we are. So being in a hurry, I zing my big 3/4 ton van into the next available parking spot, and I hear a sickening crunch. And I turn and I look, and in my side mirror, I see a brand new black Mercedes-Benz. I get out of my van, I look at the Mercedes, and I have sideswiped it and busted out the headlight, the taillight, and the front bumper.
Good impression.
So I had to walk into this Bible study full of famous Nashville singers, producers, songwriters, Opry radio disc jockeys, and say, excuse me, who owns the black Mercedes out front? Guess whose it was? It was the preachers. Boy, did I learn about saving grace that day. Steve was the name of the guest preacher they had that day, and we put Bible study on hold for a moment and went outside and exchanged insurance information. And later after the sermon, he said, I thought about working the story into the sermon, but I figured you were embarrassed enough, son. I said, thank you. But the interesting thing about it was, in having a head-on collision with the preacher's car, nobody at that Bible study forgot who I was. And that moment actually ended up being the launching of my career in Nashville. And I ended up playing a number of shows with Buzz Kaysen and recording with a number of recording artists. And you just, you know, we pray for God's grace, we pray for God's deliverance, and sometimes it comes in a way that we don't anticipate. In fact, in my case, that we wouldn't wish on anybody. But it all works out in the end. We always have to keep in mind that it's according to His plan and not our own.